Good afternoon and thanks for joining us in this edition of 360 Degrees. We are very sorry for the late start. We want to appreciate you for the patience you've been waiting for us to start. And do not leave the country at all costs. That was the message of the head of state, President Paul Biya, to the Cameroonian youths at the eve of the National Youth Day. A call for youths to get engaged into activities that can better their lives and foster the development of the country, especially when we are talking about the import substitution policy or the import substitution drive being driven at the moment by the government. And we are asking the questions, what are the possibilities, what are the areas where youths have to exploit? And today we are looking at the youth and the socio-economic challenges in Cameroon. What are the measures that can be put in place for them to break through? I have a very young panel this day, youths with stories, youth with success stories that can inspire you into changing the narratives in your life. Do not move a muscle. We shall be right back. You're welcome back. And I have, like I said, a very young panel this day because we thought it wise to bring on board youth with success stories that can move you from your very, maybe comfortable corner to a place where you can begin to think and think out of the box. I have three gentlemen and a lady. Like it is often said, ladies before gentlemen, but I would like to reverse the trend today. Begin with the gentlemen. By my right, I have NEBA Paul. NEBA Paul is an author and a digital marketer. It is your first time on 360 Degrees.
Sure.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chia, for having me. It's an honor for me to be here on Canal today to discuss important things that are touching young people which are affecting me, and of course in line with the agenda of the government as far as exportation and importation and leaving the country is concerned. It's an honor for me to share my opinion.
Thank you so much. Beside him is another young dynamic man with multiple caps, but I'll just maybe give him one of the caps for now. He is a social entrepreneur and a human coach, one of those who talk to young people on a daily basis. NJISONG, GODLOVE, it's nice having you here.
Thank you, Mr. Chia. It's a pleasure for me to be here to discuss some of the things that are actually touching the life of young people here in Cameroon. And I believe that what we are going to share from our own lives here will be able to inspire at least one person out there. So it's a pleasure for me to be here.
Thank you. And from GODLOVE, I move to my left, another young youth counselor. He is equally an entrepreneur. He goes by the name JATO Mark. You're welcome.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Chia. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be back. And I am so happy that I'm sharing this panel with other youths like me, Mr. Paul, Mr. GODLOVE, and also the beautiful BENICE here. Thank you.
Thank you. And the beautiful BENICE, we are looking at a nurse, we are looking at an entrepreneur, a nurse not like the ordinary. She has decided to go beyond just maybe getting up one morning and getting to the hospital to do her work. She is into mobile services when it comes to nursing. BENICE, it's nice to have you here.
Thank you so much, sir, to have me. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and that is the panel we have for you today. But before then, let's take some of the news stories of the week.
The Nkambe bomb blast on the 11th of February that has so far killed 3 persons with more than 45 injured is one of the gravest since the beginning of the security crisis in the northwest and southwest regions. And despite security concern, Nkambe had enjoyed peace for the past 7 years. Much has been said and written on the social media on how a politician was making financial inducements for children to march on Youth Day in Nkambe. But in a recent outing, On the heels of his return to his operational headquarters in Douala, Member of Parliament for Kambe Ngala Gerard narrated that his action of assisting families or his community has nothing to do with public display of opulence or economic success, but an innate act of generosity by giving back to the community that raised him.
So for someone to say that I'm luring people to go to school for youth day activities with cash, is blackmailing. As a politician, I go to the field and I have different class of followers. We have followers that want development. We have followers that only want to enjoy themselves. We want those who want roots. We want those who want boreholes. We want those who want to have fun. You have to make sure that as a politician you satisfy those different classes of people.
He further recounts that a video showing him distributing money were old videos and was not in Kambe, but in Binka and Tabenkeng during one of his numerous visits to communities.
I feel sorry for the families that were affected. I feel sorry for the Lemius family from Bui, whose daughter was killed just because she was seeking for education. I give where it is possible with the means I have. I give in Douala, I give out in Bamina, I give out in Kambe, I give out in Tabenkeng, I give out wherever I see the need, and I feel like this is the right place to do this, to make sure that you give a smile on people's faces. And you want to know that when I was helping people with cash in Tabenkeng or Binka, it wasn't only to children. It was everybody that was around.
On the situation of the victims of the explosive device, his assistant is unwavering for their speedy recovery and resilience in upholding peace in Kambe. However, rights organizations still question why the Member of Parliament has to put aside the best interest of rights principles, that of violating the children's right to image protection as prescribed by the Universal Declaration of Rights.
At the Douala General Hospital, the burns unit grapples with the aftermath of the tragic incident. Daily, those scarred by the flames ignited by a gas leak at the training center in Dogbong, Douala, arrive for their necessary bandage changes. The severity of their burns has granted them permission to leave the confines of the hospital, yet the pain and trauma linger. Families fraught with worry gather at the hospital, providing solace to their kids who continue to endure the physical and emotional toll of the incident.
Les pieds le font mal, il ne dort pas. Dès que je finis les pansements, j'arrive à la maison, il faut qu'on branche les ventilateurs sur ses pieds.
Out of the 18 victims admitted on February 7, 2 have tragically lost their lives, while 7 remain hospitalized, grappling with the consequences of the calamity.
At the end of this visit, very happy to see and to say that we should congratulate the personnel of the hospital and wish the quickest recovery to all those who still remain.
Wednesday, February 14, the Minister of Tourism and Leisure, recognizing the depth of the sorrow within the community, visited survivors and bereaved families alike, offering words of comfort and assurance.
Nous avons 2 quand même sous soins intensifs, sous haute surveillance.
Meanwhile, the Hospitality Training Institute, the site of these harrowing incidents, remains sealed off as investigations persist. The school, once a place of learning and growth, is now a scene of sorrow, awaiting the verdict of ongoing investigations. As Douala mourns, the questions surrounding the leak gas incident persist, leaving a community searching for answers and healing from the scars left by these tragic events.
Dreaded 3 gangs of thieves, made up of over 15 young people, that have dealt with Yaoundé city dwellers for a very long time, attacking with killer weapons like knives and guns, and doing away with valuables such as telephones, motorbikes, money and other household items after brutalizing victims. Their modus operandi well structured.
C'est la jeune dame.
It is the young lady that stops and hires the bike. At their destination, the group comes out and attack the rider, taking away the bike and other things. We get to a road junction, hires a bike. While we are going in front, the other gang members are behind. When he stops, we collect everything. And while the other items are sold out immediately after their operations, the culprits transform the motorbikes beyond recognition before looking for ready clients. When the motorbikes are stolen, they are transformed in one garage at a Kunu. The change of the parts of the bike. For example, they can remove the tank of a Sinke motorbike and replace it with that of Namfang so that the owner will not recognize. Dismantled by the first region of the National Gendarmerie, the presumed bandits had hundreds of national identity cards at their disposal, pertaining to their numerous victims.
Our topic of today, Godlove, let me begin with you. After school, many youths will go knocking at public exams. How did you choose the path of entrepreneurship?
Well, for me, after school, I did not exactly choose entrepreneurship immediately. Okay. Interestingly, that's the part that my parents actually wanted for me. And I remember falling out with my sponsor, who actually wanted me to go into the public exams. And I had to choose a job that was paying me 25,000 francs per month. You know, staying at Peka Ons here in Douala, working in Bonaberi for a salary of 25,000 with transport of 32,000 francs monthly. I had to sell books, you know, to supplement my income to even pay transport. But for me, it was not like I was suffering, because I had the luck that I was staying in a family house. But again, concerning the payment, in my mind, I was like, I'd seen an opportunity where I would learn how to run my own company. Because by then, I already had the reflection that one day I'll be able to have a company of my own. So I saw it as an opportunity for me to learn how to run a small company. And instead of me paying my school fees, because when you are learning, what is absolutely expected from you is for you to pay school fees. Definitely. But for me, I saw it as an opportunity where I was learning, and an allowance of 25,000 francs was given to me monthly. And I did that for 1 year, 3 months before we started having contract, because it was just a new company. I think I was the only employee at that moment. We are now looking for contract. During that period, I learned how to write tenders, learned how to do accounting, though in a very, not like a professional, but you know, I learned a couple of things until 1 year, 3 months after, when we started having real jobs, real contracts, and my salary situation changed. So for me, I was looking at the big picture of, you know, learning the skills I need to be able to employ others one day. It was not just looking for instant gratification, you know, to get either a big job. It was not even available then, or maybe to go into public exams and become a civil servant.
That's interesting. Mr. Paul, in few words, do you have a similar story with him?
Yeah, well, starting from the area of writing public exams, maybe at the level of writing public exams, there was no money to register for that, even if the interest was there. And I actually graduated and got jobs. I'm one of the fortunate Cameroonians who has never written an application to go search for jobs. I'm very fortunate, I'm blessed, I must say that. My lecturer in the university recommended me for my first job, and my classmate recommended me for the second and then the third just recommendations. But through all those jobs, somehow there was something lacking in me. I felt so uncomfortable in the course of the job. So switching from the jobs, I actually thought the purpose was for money, but though the jobs changing was giving higher income, I was not okay. There was something lacking, and fortunately for me, I came across the book Rich Dad Poor Dad in 2017 January, and I was surprised how much ignorant I have been, and it sparked something in me. And right then, I decided to resign from my last job, and it took me 4 years. From 2017 to 2020, that I resigned to dive into entrepreneurship and digital marketing. And unfortunately, again, for me, when I resigned a week after lockdown started because of Corona, and it has been a battle, but all through, I'm happy that I've been able to fight and have a lot of hurdles, and I'm where I am today.
Digital marketing, can we say it's booming?
Yes, of course, it's booming, but it's still timid. Just like in the early 2000s when computers were just introduced and people thought that it wasn't their business. It's the same thing today. People are looking like digital marketing or digitalization is not their business. But we all are here today, and we are surrounded by digital items, and digitalization is here. All of us, we don't even go online anymore. We live online, and people are yet to identify the opportunities that are there. We have identified the opportunities, and we have created a bridge to that opportunities by creating the school that we run here in Bonaberi. And of course, that's where the attention is, and we are giving our best out there.
Thank you. I get to Benice. You are a nurse, not like the others, like I always say. Can you just give us a brief description of what you do?
Okay, I'm a nurse. I'm the founder of Elegance Mobile Clinic, where we take healthcare services to the comfort of patients' home. Through this, we make healthcare services accessible for those who don't want to go to the hospital, because many people have their excuses of not wanting to go to the hospital. Some people just don't like hospital environments. Some people, they have so much that they forget about their health. We do this through these mobile clinics services. You can stay at home or in your office while doing your works or your other activities. At the same time, you are receiving healthcare services. So that's just about it.
Are you telling us that you've already employed some people under you?
Not yet. I recently started this Elegance Mobile Clinic because I was first of all working as a nurse somewhere, so I'm still bringing a team together.
Okay, thank you so much, Max. Maybe I'll begin with you. You have a very a story that youths will need to learn from today. Exactly. I think maybe I'll just give you the opportunity. You were telling me the story backstage. I will give you the opportunity to briefly tell it to our televiewers. Then from there, we'll know where we are going to.
Okay, thank you so very much, Mr. Chia. Yeah, I think the panel here is very rich. We have a nurse, we have a digital marketer, and we also have somebody who's into public contracts. And we all are youths. The youths today go through tremendous challenges. Navigating from school, like I heard the stories here, to getting jobs and to starting their own companies.
Yes.
But now, how then do they actually take this transition? We have opportunities for youth, funding opportunities, especially for those who want to get into entrepreneurship. Because the very first thing you need to start a business is capital. So how then do you get this seed capital? So we've had many youths who have dived into application for grants, and there are a couple of foundations and organizations that help some of these youths to apply for these grants. But unfortunately, Mr. Chair, unfortunately, some of these organizations have been maltreating some of these youths. We have a story that is developing. I am very happy that your media house would like to investigate, because we've been reaching out to a couple of them. So we have this story where over 600 plus Africans, not just Cameroonians, we have over 80 plus Cameroonians who have been victims of this well-planned scam, wherein you would have youths that have been trained, you have youths that have gone through a program for a whole year, and they have been asked to create companies at a particular bank, notarize documents attesting to the fact that they have received this seed capital, just for the foundation to turn around and tell them they are not eligible. Registering a company in Africa should be around $600, let's just say averagely, and the initial deposits at the bank, and to notarize all those documents. How then do you expect a youth who has an idea, just an idea, to pull out almost $1,000, that's like 600,000 francs, to be investor ready, and at the end of the day you don't invest them? What are you trying to do? Those are some of the difficulties we are facing here as youth, and I'm very happy that you gave me this opportunity to air it out. Thank you.
Have you tried denouncing such to maybe competent authorities?
Yes, we have. Right now we have an ongoing petition where the victims from all over Africa, like I said, are actually signing. Then at the level of Cameroon here, we have reached out to the ministry in charge of small and medium-sized enterprise. We've reached out to the Ministry of Youth Affairs, and we've sent them official letters, but not like trying to tell them to face this organization, but then to see how we can come up with a solution to help some of these youths who are in debt because they never had any money. They had to borrow this money to register companies, and it would interest you to know that the banks are already charging 13,000 every month for account maintenance because they dropped an initial deposit of 100,000. But now, what are they going to do? They have to declare taxes. They are owing the state. That is why I picked interest when the head of state talked about 12,000 companies being registered and creating 32,000 direct jobs. Yes. Imagine 82 plus companies who are among these 12,000 who are not doing anything. Now the state has a false record. If this has to go on for like 10 years, if this has to go on for like 15 years, I mean, we'll have false records that we have this number of companies, which is not good. So some of these things need to be addressed, and organizations like this need to be brought to book and be accountable. Thank you.
Like he said, it is a developing story, and definitely we shall get to the roots of the matter. But then, this may be a legitimate company, or maybe that turned sour in the eyes of many. But in the past, I've equally covered stories of where issues of money, where people are gathered and they say, okay, after this, they will do this, after this, and then at the end, the company locks up and nobody is answering to anybody. I think it's a lesson to learn.
Definitely, it's a lesson to learn from, and I feel that there are two types. There are some companies that initially plan schemes actually to deal people.
Yes.
And they can execute their plans so well, you know, because they have studied people, they understand how they function. And as you said, they could also be legitimate companies that are there, or organizations, but because they do not have a good structure, maybe because they did not do their due diligence, and something happens and it goes sour. But I also feel that if a company is actually serious, it's actually genuine, and things go wrong, there should be somebody who should stand up and say, look, this is the situation, this is what happened, and take responsibility and apologize to people. I feel that it's better that way instead of, you know, the person just disappearing into thin air.
Yes, Paul, you are into digital marketing, and we understand we are in a digital era. So what is the feedback like? You work with young people. How are they responding to the new trend?
Well, one thing I want to observe first is that the way digitalization was introduced to us was not really good, because the experiences that most people had with digitalization, especially some digitalization developments such as cryptocurrencies, it made people to have a particular image about anything that has to do with online. And for the fact that we can't deny the fact that we have a lot of our brothers and sisters who have engaged into scamming, and people see online like a place where people steal from people, and it's been a whole struggle. But we thank God that with the African Academy of Digital Marketing, the first thing we are doing is trying to educate the public, let them know that digitalization has come to make us, whether we are in Furawa or in Fano, wherever we are, we can be able to share in the global world, because whatever thing you are doing here in Cameroon, somebody in the US can have the same access, because the digital space is a level ground where everybody can contribute to it, and of course make work from it, because it's possible that you can be here and you're working remotely in the US, in England, or wherever in the world. The challenges are there, but the opportunities are there also. What we need more is more platforms to be able to educate the people, because sometimes I have difficulties explaining myself to my parents, you know, because me leaving my banking job to dive into digitalization at the initial stage it wasn't really feasible. It don't make sense.
They look at you like you don't know where you're going to.
I mean, seeing me always with a phone and a laptop in their mind, this guy should be a scammer. Why should he always be with his phone and a laptop? But we need to keep educating people that data is a new goal. I mean, content has painted a different picture of what the world is. We have different platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and so other social media platforms where people can make money from different angles. So the beginning point is to keep educating, because with the advent of every technology, the first reaction is that people always reject it. That's always the first reaction. But with education, we are going to have more young people embrace these innovations.
Yeah, Mark, maybe from what he says, young people should go beyond using the social media for entertainment. They should use it more for economic reasons.
Yes, I agree with him, and I keep drawing inspiration from the speech of the head of state, because he talked more about education.
Yes.
He mentioned that most of the budget is going into education, and if you realize, he also mentioned about the fact that they are trying to see how they can improve the education, because now most of the curriculum we have hasn't actually been outputting what the job market needs. I run a consulting firm, BIMI's Consulting, and averagely on a day I work with students who reach out maybe for CVs and cover letters and the rest. And it would interest you to know that you would have maybe a PhD student who tells you he doesn't have a CV, but then they are actively looking for jobs. So how then do you navigate those waters from, the classroom to the job market without a CV, without a cover letter? So we really need, and we have a lot of tools online which we can use to self-educate ourselves. Talking to you today, I am a telecom engineer. I work with Canal. But then, most of the things I learned consulting is nobody taught me. For that long period of time, 2014 to 2021, before I had a job, I had to look for ways to survive. And the internet was there. We are lucky. Many people who came before us never had these opportunities. So we should try as much as possible to make use of the internet. And we are very lucky now that we have AI tools, artificial intelligence. You just have to chat with a bot. Okay, you need this, and they tell you on how to do it. We have Google. We have a lot of resources. So that should be taken into consideration, and most youth should try as much as possible to improve their soft skills.
Yeah, Benice, coming back to what you do, and then digitalization as well. Have you integrated, or you are still doing it the analog way?
I've integrated, because most of my patients, I meet them online.
Okay.
There's some that I mostly do online consultation. So mobile clinic generally is more of online. You get to us even through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or even on WhatsApp. Yes, we do the consultation online, and then we take the healthcare service now to you. So it's more of digital than physical.
Okay, GODLOVE, one of the major problems we have is the change of mindset. And you deal with young people, and you have been trying to point their mindset to think towards a particular direction. What is the issue? What really is the issue where most youths do not want to leave their comfort zone to other areas?
I think one of the reasons, generally, it's a human nature. We resist change. It's difficult to change, and the way we are groomed, the way we are brought up, the environment that we are brought up through, it gave us a certain orientation. And there are a lot of myths that we grow up with, a lot of things that we believe. You just believe that, okay, if you are studying this is what you must become. If you are studying that is what you must become. And so we are stuck in that box. And today, when you want to talk about personal development, as he talked about, he just shared with us how he has been able to move from telecom engineering to what he's doing, which is extra. And I believe that what he's doing extra, either it's able to bring him extra income, or is able to use it to create impact in the life of others. And I share the same background with him. I'm a metallurgical engineer. I'm switching into personal development and doing all what I'm doing, and trying to run a company, engineering. So all of that is because I had to accept, that I have a mind that I can transform into anything I want. And one of the greatest tools that we can use today, he already mentioned it, the online space. You just have everything that can help you to grow as a person.
So instead of going online, wasting data to laugh, wasting data to listen to things that will not help you, use it economically. And you can equally contribute to our talking point through the number you have on your screen. SMS or WhatsApp, please do not call. Many will always insist to call. If you call, we'll not pick your call, but if you text, we'll definitely read your reaction here. Make them short and straight to the point. Paul, you listened to the head of state. Let's get back now to the head of state last Saturday. Did you find yourself in his speech?
Yes, of course. You know, I'm in the domain of education, though I actually practice digital marketing as well, but I'm really focused on education. And when he talks about putting a larger bunch of the budget into education, I mean, I find myself, it means that he has seen the need that we have to focus more in education, because to be able to transform a people, to be able to transform a generation, you have to put a lot of energy in education. And one thing we have noticed is that innovations will not stop. Innovations, we have just been talking about digitalization. He went ahead to talk about AI, artificial intelligence. That's the game changer. It's changing things like every blessed day that as we're speaking right here. So the best way to keep, to keep pace is to keep learning. And I think it's a good vision that he is casting, that we should focus on education, because the whole world is accelerating. If we want to look at the past revolutions that have happened, we are always catching up, but now we have the digital revolution that is here, and the good thing about it is that we have almost the same access of knowledge like the people who are anywhere in the Western world. Why? Because we have Google, we have YouTube, which I refer to them like one of the biggest universities in the world, because you can anytime with a click ask questions of whatever thing you want to know, and you have a collection of knowledge that you can assemble and know things that somebody in the Western world knows. So I find myself in line with him, and I just pray that more young people should be able to embrace that and put more energy into learning. The internet is here, social media is there. Most of us, just like me, I created my social media handles not for any business, it was for socialization, connect with friends and classmates. But that should not only be the case, because most times when I'm training, especially elementary students, the first question I always ask them, can you be able to make an assembly of how much time you spend of the digital space since you start using the internet? That should be years wasted. Can you sum up the amount that you spend on data? Even you're spending just 100 francs on data a day. People will not always want to calculate that because it's depressing. And then I'll ask the next question, how much money have you been able to make from the digital space? This question should be able to enlighten you out there, so that you can start to think on how you can use the digital space, not just to chat with people, but exhibit your skills, exhibit the fact that you can be able to get a job, and people can be in Cameroon and they're walking out of the country.
Yeah, Mark, the head of state equally made mention of the fact that the fees of state's vocational training centers will be reduced from 500,000 francs to 50,000 francs. That tells us that he's beginning to prioritize that sector, because he has understood that that is where the core of nation building should be.
Exactly. Yeah, I was quite impressed with that move. 500,000 to 50,000 francs CFA is, saving 400,000, which those students can use as startup capital. Remember, I told you we spent, each candidate for this program, I told you, spent almost like 500,000 to register, but this is money they could use as capital. So if the head of state is coming up with that initiative to reduce that fee, it's a plus, and we should take it as advantage for us youth.
Okay, BENICE import substitution policy. In few words, it means what? Produce what you consume and consume what you produce. Maybe to avoid so much importation. As young entrepreneurs that you are, what are some of the major challenges that will not put you on train with embarking fully into this import substitution policy, like the Made in Cameroon, which you are already into? Some of the major challenges, maybe as a young entrepreneur, what are some of the major challenges that will not permit you to maybe expand what you have already started?
Okay, I'm equally the founder of Elegance Detergents, which is a firm that deals with the production and distribution of liquid soap, different kind of cleaning products. So I opened a shop and a laboratory that produces the product. So I can say the most challenging factor that I encountered there was ignorance. Before opening the place, I didn't know much about taxis and all those things, patang and stuff.
You're basing on the capital, the business capital you have.
Yes, and I was so much focused on the skills I have and the money I have to put in producing the product, and So when I opened the place last year, it was locked down, I think 3 times, because throughout I was not really understanding the taxis. Today, so the people will come and today is it patang? Today is it OTV? Something like that, OTVP, and hygiene and sanitation. So and they have this pressure they put on people. Sometimes you just feel confused. As they are coming for the money. They don't want you to, they are not like, it's not something for you to understand. Yeah. They will not explain for you to understand.
Like they say,
want
that
to,
ignorance is not an excuse?
It's not an excuse.
Ignorance is not an excuse, yes.
So until they even brought me, what do they call it?
A convocation.
A convocation that I have to visit, whether it's where, and they had to lock my shop so many times. Because I think it was just ignorance, and it was really quite challenging because, as a startup, there are first of all the startup process that is really, you have to go through it, and before the pressure of what you don't know. So I think that's the highest challenge I've had.
Thank you, GODLOVE, from what she says. Information should be key.
Definitely. The challenge is not just for her, it's for many people. And that's why I actually feel that we should have many more institutions, or even our government institutions should be proactive in educating. They should not just be focused on executing what is in the text, but if they are very active in educating, helping the young to grow. That is the word I'm trying to look for. That is a follow-up process to groom people. But apart from that, I know there are a couple of organizations or companies that are also trying to help maybe young people who are interested in starting organizations, starting company, to teach them on some of those things, to know the tax system, which one is preferable to choose, and how to go about it, and what to expect. And the truth is you will never know enough. Let me just share an experience. Last year, wanted to register a company where after we had paid for our rents, we were now asked to go and do what do they call it? Contract to buy. The contract that we had with the landlord, was for 2 years. And we're paying for 2 years because our system here in Douala, after 1 year they will say they want to increase the rent. If there was a possibility, we would have even done for 5 years. Yes, but we did not have enough money. But now when we went at the tax office, we knew that we were just going to pay for 1 year. But they told us, since we have paid for the 2 years, we must pay for the 2 years. I had only gone with the money for 1 year. But interestingly, the landlord is actually allowed to pay for 1 year, and then for the other months, even though he has received the money, he can be paid monthly. So it means the stress is instead put on the person who is spending the money than the person who is receiving the money. I felt it would have instead been the other way around. The landlord who received the money, should be the one who is expected to pay all of his own. You who pay the money, they should allow you, maybe, but that is how it is. And some of these things we only learn when we start executing. So any young entrepreneur who is going into something, you should not just focus on the capital of what you are going to do. There should always be room.
At times the side expenditure is even more than the capital.
Not at times. Most times.
Okay, you wanted to react to that too?
Yes, I wanted to react to what BENICE said about ignorance when starting up a company and some of the challenges. It is very true. It is actually now that we see entrepreneurship being introduced in our school programs. Most of us, we grew up studying science and arts, and that was it. But now entrepreneurship is something we took because we wanted change for ourselves, we wanted change for our community. So it's a little, there is no roadmap to entrepreneurship per se, saying that, okay, if you follow this formula, if you follow the other one, it is going to work or it's not going to work. I always look at entrepreneurship like the Hayes' law in chemistry, where there are many roads to the end. But now, when we start, like he said, like Mr. Godlove said, that is when we start seeing the challenges. And when we start seeing the challenges, like Benice was seeing most of these challenges, we should try as much as possible to go to the competent bodies, those who are in charge, to explain to us. It is true that those who go out maybe to collect the money, might be roadless and the rest, they have their targets, they have their objectives. Theirs is to come back with the money. You know, now when they've done what they've done, it is left for us now to say, okay, where do we go from here? I quite remember when I started an e-commerce platform in 2018, the first thing I did was I tried as much as possible to look at the laws of the land with regards to e-commerce. What can I do and what can I not do? Then coming back to importation, the policy on importation and exportation,
yes,
I think there is a lot that has to be done in this regard, because in as much as we put up these policies and our products still compete with products that are coming out, it will be totally very difficult. You get an entrepreneur who is probably trying to produce an item here in Cameroon, maybe the value of a piece of that item, let's just say maybe it's 200 francs, but now China is producing it for maybe 25. And when somebody goes and imports, you've produced for 200 francs, you definitely want to maybe sell for 250, but somebody has produced for 25, brings it to the country, and is selling at 50. What now happens to the person who has produced? So those are some of the challenges surrounding this policy that we should really look at and see how we can.
Paul, the president says, do not leave the country at all costs. Which means you can, yes, you can go for greener pastures, but when you are living at all costs, it means you maybe moving towards across the deserts and all that,
going through Mexico.
Because he says people are equally coming into Cameroon to invest, which means Cameroon is not that bad. So what are some of the opportunities those who think to leave the country at all costs can embark on?
Truth be told, it's difficult to hold people when you cannot really give them a direct activity that can be able to give them money in real time, like the kind of money that they will make out there. Because evidently, somehow the situations around us are showing that to make it, you have to go out there at all costs. Because if you want to look at like the Samuel Eto's, he was a sans-papier in France at one point in time. You want to look at the story of Ghana, he had to go out at all costs. Then come back to the country. How many people are there who can share their stories and achieve that kind of magnitude of success? It becomes a problem. But still, is that the only way out? Look at the risks. There are two of them that I've mentioned. How many hundreds of thousands have died along that way? At one point in time, we have to think of preserving our lives and seeking opportunities around, because at one point in time is because the efforts we give when we go out there are not the same efforts that we give here. It is very challenging, but the truth is that you can succeed here. I might not have reached the level where I'm headed to, but the people that I've seen around here that have done remarkable success, they have put in 10 years at least in doing the same thing.
Consistency.
At least 10 years. But we are not ready. We are not ready to stay on one thing and do it. We switch like a chameleon every day. As you are doing this thing, it doesn't add up. You switch to another one, it doesn't go. You switch to another one. At the end of the time,
so you spend your whole life trying.
Yes, you spend your whole life trying. And I mean, GODLOVE is doing something nice there. So my own is as if my own ground I'm digging, there's no gold there. So I'm not going to find anything here anytime soon. I switch to GODLOVE's own without knowing how much time GODLOVE has put in what he is doing. I don't know what he does at night, the energy and everything. When I see there, it's not going. I check out Benice is talking about mobile clinic here. I don't have any skills in the nursing or whatever. I want to now do mobile clinic, and it doesn't go like that. Anything that you put energy in, you can actually succeed. I want to say all the houses we are seeing that are being built around here, all the projects that are realized, are not done by just one. We have people here who are doing stuff here and they are making a living out of it. If I want to measure my progress from digital marketing from 2021 to today, it's not the same again. My first flyer that I brought out, my role model beside me here, Mr. GODLOVE, can testify, it was 1,000 francs for training. And it was even out of frustration because the business I resigned to do, Corona closed it. So since the internet was open, I dived to that. But today, for you to get training from our institution, you should have hundreds of thousands. So the time factor is very important.
Thank you. Benice, you relate with young girls. Lately, we'll be hearing stories of easy money for young girls. Have you been trying to talk to some young girls like you, and then they keep hesitating and choosing the easy path?
Yes. Actually, I belonged to an organization known to Stigmatization of a Girls Child Foundation. In that organization, we are looking for means to reduce the stigmatization among ladies and the pressure on them. Because as a lady, to be able to overcome some of these challenges is really somehow heavy. Because firstly, you feel like you are already advantaged as a lady. Then why should I be suffering? So through this, we talk to ladies, but most of them are hesitant because it's really challenging. So they want the easier way.
Money that is coming now.
And the easiest way is usually not the legal way. So.
Thank you. Maybe we will take some few messages. We have tons of them, but we cannot take all. Good afternoon to all in the studio. I really thank Benice for bringing this program to me. So far, I have been following up the program, and I encourage everybody to start using the social media wisely. Being a student doesn't limit you from starting up something, and the easiest way to advertise what you do is through the social media, which means the same data you have for other things like pictures and the rest, you can still do it to start up something. We have another message. The one is not very clear. We shall get back to that. GODLOVE, what can we say, maybe evaluate the impact you've created so far as your training, your human building is concerned?
Well, I would say I'm not yet where I think that I'm going to, but when I look back my part from 2018, when I started with the organization Go and Make a Difference, our first edition, we basically had about 47 people who were in attendance. Now, when I look at everybody who was there, and I look at the way they are progressing, and at times they attribute it to what they learn at Go Make a Difference. I'm glad he was actually one of them. And we have seen people come out from Go created organization. We have seen them improve in their careers professionally. We have seen them network with other people that they have started businesses together. And I feel that the more people get into the environment where their minds are being developed, they take personal growth and development seriously, and they understand that if there's anything to change about their life, it's their responsibility. It makes them more focused in building and doing positive things. So the organization that he co-runs with NDOFOR, it happens that they credit it to having the idea at GOMAT 6. Now, at GOMAT 5, his business partner actually had the idea to go and write a book. The book has been read by over 12,000 Cameroonians. So that is just one example.
Unfortunately, most Cameroonians do not read.
Yes, and that is just one case out of many. So which means, first of all, we need to be able to let our youths know that they need to open up to opportunities of personal development.
You are equally to many youths.
Yes.
What is that attitude that maybe we need to kill in younger youths? Because I understand you work with all ages. What is that attitude we need to kill before they are getting to a certain stage?
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for that question. I think I was actually waiting for it. Yeah. The main challenge we have, most youths, not just Cameroonian youths, like African youths, because I work with youths from across Africa. The challenge we have, at first I thought it was just a Cameroon problem, but I realized it's an African problem.
Yes.
We have given up on our systems. We have given up on our government. When we started to petition for the problem I mentioned, many people were very hesitant. The organization is in bed with our government, they are not going to do anything. You tell people, simply write a letter, address it to the minister. It's your minister. He's there for you.
Of course.
And in Cameroon, we are very lucky that we have delegations. It has been decentralized. In the regions you have, in the divisions you have, in the sub-divisions. So there is a way you can communicate to these people. These people are there for you. But you see, most youths are already, how can I put it? They don't even want to try. Because they feel that, okay, they need to attain some level before maybe they communicate their problems to the authorities, or even if they communicate what is going to be done. When I was writing a letter to the Minister of Small and Medium Size and Youth Affairs, many of the Cameroonians that were victims, almost 82 plus, were not even willing to send their documents, the notarized documents, for me to print for free and send.
Yes.
But, what is the government going to do? What stops you from doing it?
From trying.
From trying. So that's the main problem as Cameroonian youths. We should try as much as possible to kill. The government is there for us. The budgets for the ministries is for us. And surprisingly, the ministry is waiting for us to bring these projects so that they can use and justify and tell the parliament that, okay, this budget that was given to our ministry, we've used it for this, and for that. So let's not keep ourselves behind the shadow. Let's bring our ideas in front.
Just to add that the head of state equally made mention of a 3-year program for the implementation of the import substitution policy program in Cameroon, which begins from this 2024 and will run to 2026. I think if you get to the Minister of Youth Affairs, if you get to the Minister of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises, through their different delegations, you'll be able to have concrete information on how you want to go about that. Yes, you wanted to react to what you were saying, Paul.
Yes, you know, it's a question of habits, it's a question of attitude. And if you don't have the right attitude, you cannot be able to achieve anything in this world. Like, nothing is hidden under the sun and nothing is new under the sun. Whatever thing we are trying to achieve today, somebody has achieved it. Somebody has achieved it. Some of us were fortunate that we had the light to go through GOMAT. Sincerely, if I did not go through GOMAT, I would have given up. And there are times that I've found myself in the place where I want to give up. And I'm fortunate that I'm like, how is GODLOVE reacting in this case? And the guy is talking with me and smiling. I'm expecting him to cry so that we can cry and lament, and then let me go back to Bamenda. But the guy discussed with me. I'm waiting that he should bring that pain point that he knows that we are going through on this particular project that we both faced, and he failed. The guy is smiling. And through that, it helps us to keep going. What I'm saying is that as you are building that attitude to be able to stand strong, it's going to be very challenging. But if you keep people around you that are going to be able to tell you, hey guy, let's do it again, or they don't even tell you, you see them doing it again, of which they have faced the highest blows, you might be challenged to try again and again. And before you know it, you are going to get out of it. Like he mentioned, if you don't try, you have 100% guarantee that you are going to fail.
Yes. Okay, maybe before we are almost running up, let's just take one of the many messages. Thanks so much for the insight of your program. The program of the foundation in 2023 really caused me to enter in depth. Maybe I think he's reacting to what you said. The main challenge I face in my entrepreneurial career is non-availability of funds. So many people have this problem of being unable to raise the funds needed to start up something. But like we said, it all depends on the idea, and then how you can successfully manage the little you have. Maybe this should be your last word, GODLOVE.
Okay, without downplaying the necessities to have funds to run a business or to start a business, what I've also discovered with a lot of people, especially those that just leave school, I find somebody and the person tells me, look, if I have this amount of money, I'm going to run a poultry farm. And I'm like, okay, do you have any skills? Have you studied any person? Have you worked with any person? They have none.
Yeah.
So before going for the money, make sure you have all the skills. Make sure you understand the business you are going into, and start working towards the money. Don't just
Thank you, gentlemen and lady. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time to talk about this, but I promise you we'll have more other platforms to talk about this. So it is here that we draw the curtains of the program. Thank you so much for watching, and take the rendezvous next Saturday when it is 12:30 p.m. Bye-bye.